Hello guys, happy new year to you all. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're having a great time. So this is the first driving test for the year 2024, the first driving test video, and the first pass for this year. So it's a brilliant one. It's always good to start the year with a pass. So yeah, this test was on the 8th of January 2024 at 11:11 a.m. at Bromley Driving Test Center. So the test was a pass, of course, like I said already, and it was 8 minor faults on this test. So let's go on and see what the faults were. So there were 8 driving faults on this test, 2 of which were for signaling correctly and another 2 for planning awareness. 1 was for control steering, 1 for judgment in meeting situation, so that's meeting traffic. Then you've got 1 for progress, so that's undue hesitation, and then we have the final one, which was the vehicle check. Now let's watch the video and see if we can pinpoint or pick out where these situations occurred. If you haven't watched many of my videos, remember that this junction is not a junction to be taken in haste. Take your time. It can be busy at this junction at times. Don't rush it. Check left, right, forward, because you've got this road on the opposite direction. You don't want to run across and miss a car coming from that road. And be mindful that when there are parked cars to your right, that could also block your visibility. So if you're going to creep forward gently, be aware of oncoming cars that might be overtaking the parked cars on your right. So be very vigilant at this junction. I would always recommend to practice these junctions at different times so that you're able to deal with it at less busy time as much as at busy times. So do this, practice this, so that you're much confident when you're approaching this junction. Do it with your instructor, do it privately if you have to, but the most important thing is being able to deal with that junction confidently, and as well as, of course, other junctions that you might come across during your test. So here is College Road roundabout. A lot of learner drivers tends to worry about this roundabout, but it's actually not that difficult if you're confident, relaxed, and practice well around it. So at this point, you're taking the second exit, which is to your right. So enter straight into your right lane. But remember that as you pass the first exit here, keep to your left through the bend, and that should take you all the way to the second. But here we've got a van in front, so learning driver comes into the right to avoid that on time, which is good. But then make sure you come back properly to your left again, because when you keep to the right here, you might be misleading people because your positioning is now wrong at that point. But make sure to look out for any bus at the bus stop as you're coming through the bend. And also at this bend, slow down, because sometimes you have cars or other vehicles parked opposite the road as you exit the roundabout on the bend here. One thing you've got to look out for at Bromley is signs, because there are lots of changing signs, and here is one. So you've got a one-way system ahead, and a lot of time drivers tend to miss the signs. So as you come up this road, there is a one-way sign, and then after that there is a no entry sign, but sometimes learners miss the no entry sign, and there is the one-way sign, and up ahead is the no entry sign here. So remember, you should be following the road. Following the road means to your left, not straight ahead. And remembering that you've just crossed into a one-way, don't forget that when you're told, or if you're told to turn right at the end of this road, then you should be keeping to your right. That is because, of course, there are no cars coming into this road, because it's a one-way. Because if you keep to your left, you might just end up with a serious fault for positioning, because if you're sitting on the left hand side on a one-way road to turn right, then you're holding up traffic who perhaps wants to turn left, and then you create unnecessary traffic. So positioning on one way is a common reason why I've seen some drivers fail their test. So here they're coming to turn right, of course. So yep, make sure you keep right and just look both sides. Don't be deceived by the fact that because it's a one-way, so you just jump into the road. There could be cyclists coming from your right. Keep that in mind, that the one-way sign or the one-way road does not actually prevent cyclists from using that side of the road. So make sure you look out. And at this junction as well, remember to slow down, look out for cars coming out from the car park, as well as also, as usual, just a quick glance to your right for any pedestrians or cyclists, coming from that side, if there is any. Just, show some safety checks, some understanding of, dangers, that there could be things. I'm not just looking out for cars on the road or looking out for vehicles on the road. You could have people on roller skating, you could have people on skateboards, using the road as well, and they normally wouldn't follow the normal traffic on the road. So yep. Remember that the one-way system continues here, and there is a bus lane on your left here. So keep to the right, and you are going to be turning left at the end of the road with a no right turn sign clearly visible on the sign as well, and also the blue arrow directing you to turn left. Now, if you're turning left, be careful of this curb on your left here. A lot of drivers tend to climb over it because you're worried about the cars on your right, and then you miss your turn here, which is kind of common, and luckily a lot of examiners ignore it, as you would see here as well. He did climb over it, but examiners often ignore it because they understand the situation, which is very kind of them, so that's good. However, he did get one minor fault for control steering there. Now keep in mind, I am mentioning this and I said this is kind of them, though a minor fault was given. Now this is because of the misconception that a lot of people have, that as soon as you hit a curb or you go over a curb, you're going to fail. No, that's not always the case. Here, it was a slight drive over a curb because of a junction that is a bit tricky, and learners are also anxious trying to deal with the situation of the traffic, the junction, So all of this, and considering the fact that the car was moving at a very slow pace. So all these things are put together by the examiner before they reach a decision. And of course, with experience and the way things happen, it doesn't need 5 seconds or 5 hours to make that decision. You can tell instantly if something is done unsafely or safely to make a decision as such as this one. So yeah, a minor fault was given at that point for control steering. So as you would see just now, the learner just overtook a bus that was parked up at the bus stop, which is done quite well, so there was no problem there. Although there was a minor fault given later on, I presume, because there was an issue the examiner spoke about, which had to do with a bus that was parked up at the bus stop, because the learner tried to go through that situation but then was quite hesitant going past it, and then to make matters worse, the bus driver started to move while he was trying to overtake as well, and the examiner was quite unhappy about that bus driver's decision because he reacted to it as well, which the learner did point out, which is good, because it's good to see a situation where examiners actually react to situations to make you understand that it's not just your fault, and that can help you relax, because other than that or otherwise you can continue your test with that anxiousness of, oh my god, I messed up and that. But that gesture or sign towards the bus driver from an examiner puts you at peace that, oh, okay, maybe it wasn't so much just me there, or maybe it wasn't so much my fault actually. But yeah, so here though, after passing that bus, he should have come back to the left lane, back into the left in front of the bus, but learner did not, which is fine. He's on the right lane here, but as long as you make sure you keep making progress, then there won't be problem. But as soon as there's an opportunity to come back into the left, then do that, because you might just make your life more difficult later on ahead. Remember guys, if you find this video helpful, don't forget to click the like button, share to your friends and families if you think they would find this useful as well. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, then please remember, click the subscribe button. This would really help the channel. It would really help the video reach out to more people. And also remember that you can also support the channel financially by using the super thanks button. It's just a little heart icon at the bottom of the video. Remember that nothing is too small. This would go a long way. This would help towards equipment that I use to make these videos. I wouldn't go into as much as time, because of course I am editing this video and spending time on them because I enjoy doing it. So at least at this point, let's focus on the equipment aspect of the video creation. So yes, don't forget, that would really be appreciated. It would really help the channel grow and, you know, help the videos improve as well. So yep, let's go back to the video. Up ahead, there is a mini roundabout, and at this mini roundabout, they taken the first exit, which is going to be Tinley Road. Don't make a mistake and turn left into Cannon Road, where that car just pulled out from. So here is right onto this road. Here is your first exit, which is literally straight ahead. So don't make a mistake because the examiner says turn left, first exit, and then you turn into Cannon Road. That is not the roundabout. That's just another road after your exit. I believe that the situation ahead is where we have one minor fault for meeting situation. Now, right here after this Mercedes, the driver could have actually pushed in to commit himself, but kept on waiting for the oncoming vehicles, even though the space was actually big enough to accommodate the car. But being too cautious here, sees him waiting while everyone else is passing. And right there, we had a minor fault. So as you can see, we end up waiting again for this red car coming towards us here. And yeah, the examiner mentioned it, so the examiner had to prompt him to, to move on and commit himself. And the examiner mentioned specifically that, when a road is safe, you've got to try and be more braver. And that was the word. And in many situations, that is exactly the right word for learners. A lot of the time, you worry too much that you become too hesitant just in the name of trying to be safe, but then that becomes over cautiousness. So you're being too cautious, which is not good at the end of the day. Now, bear in mind that in this, in another situation, or sorry, with another examiner, this could have actually been a serious fault where the examiner would not prompt you there, just gives you your own time to decide what you're going to do there, and then the traffic piles up behind you. Then it becomes a serious fault. That, of course, I would assume there must be adequate space that you are hesitant to take there, where the examiner would have then given a serious fault for that. But I don't see many examiners giving you a serious fault for a situation where the space is really tight, and just because they feel like they can get through it, and as such they're expecting you to get through it. I don't really see that scenario, but it would be a case where the space is good but you're just being too cautious, and maybe your judgment of space or your sense of space is not so good, and hence because of the examiner would just leave you to it and eventually prompt you in the end, and then you get a serious fault. But yeah, here we managed to avoid that, so luckily that's good. So yeah, that was another minor fault there. So at this point, they are coming to the car park to do the reverse bay parking. And the parking maneuver on this test was wonderfully and perfectly executed. And funny enough, the leader was actually quite worried about this particular parking just 30 minutes before the test and wanted a bit more practice, but I insisted not, because I understand that in situations like this, many of the times you're more likely to just worry more and then end up making it worse on your test, because there's little you can change 30 minutes before your test in many cases if you haven't been able to change it in, say, a week or even a month sometimes, and you feel like, 30 minutes or 5 minutes can make that much difference. That's just you responding to fear and the pressure and the anxiousness that you feel inside. But yeah, surprisingly, hey, it was done perfectly well. So good job. At the bus stop ahead is where an undue hesitation fault was given due to the way that situation was dealt with. So, as the driver tried to overtake the bus while he was still at the bus stop, the bus driver, as they often do, started to move off. But the examiner gave a minor fault for planning awareness, because had he planned ahead as he was coming out of the car park, he should have spotted that there was no longer passengers going into the bus, meaning that the bus was going to be moving off anytime soon. The examiner also complained about the fact that he was quite hesitant. Now, when he got beside the bus, he could have just moved on and get it done with, but he got quite hesitant, reluctant to move on. Well, examiner mentioned that, you know, but luckily the situation was still safe enough, hence why it was not a serious fault. And at this point they are approaching College Road roundabout again, but coming from Plasto Lane this time around. So because they're going back to the test center now, this is going to be the third exit. And because this roundabout is a one-way system, you do not have to signal right, but I always highly recommend you do, so that your intention is clear, especially because this road is big enough to fit 2 cars side by side. So that clarifies that you're moving into the right hand side of the road. Now keep in mind that as you're approaching the second exit here, now as you pass the second exit, keep to your left so that you end up straight into the left as you pass the second, but don't signal because it would confuse people that you're turning left for second. Now be careful when you do this, because he's ended up in the right lane but then changes lane to the left at the second exit. I've always discouraged this, but people get nervous and anxious and you end up doing it. Now he's been very lucky because there are no cars around, so that was easy for him to just come back into the left and continue. But a couple of drivers have failed at that point just because of that, because the minute you move into the right and remain in that right lane, people assume you're going back around towards Plasto Lane, which would have been the fourth exit from that point. So yeah, keep that in mind. Don't deal with that roundabout that way. It is more complicated or more difficult because you're gonna have to check your mirror and maybe signal, so you just give yourself more work to do. So keep that in mind. But yes, that is really it. And as you can see at this point, they are heading back to the test center, and this comes back to the end of the test now. And so yeah, that is it on this tests for the first test for the year, first pass for the year, and first driving test video for the year. So first of everything, and actually yes, first attempt for the driver as well, so that's been very good. So yeah, a couple of the other fault we didn't pick up, and one of them was actually at the roundabout there. So like I said, he kept to the right. Now when he changed back to the left, he signaled right instead of left as he was changing lane. Now that could have been an easy fail if there were other cars around on the left there, because a driver at the junction on that second exit could have probably pulled out because of that positioning he had there, and then signaling to the wrong place makes it even worse. But yeah, luckily there was no one around that was affected by that, so be careful of that. So yep, there was 2 faults for signaling, which obviously incorrectly or correctly, so which could be either you signal late or you signal to the wrong side. And what other thing did we not pick out? We picked up, okay, so yeah, awareness and planning, so which is very normal when you're, especially could be, for example, situation with meeting traffic, or maybe bus pulled up or cars packed up on the side of the road. You know, if you're failing to plan ahead on time for these things, then yeah, you're more likely to be having faults for planning and awareness. So yeah, this is really it. So remember guys, if you find these videos helpful, please remember, it would really do me so much help if you like the video, because then it helps the video reach out to more people. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please remember, subscribe to the channel. And if you find it really helpful and you are wondering how can I support the channel with the work financially, then yeah, you can use the super thanks icon at the bottom of the video. And remember, nothing is too small. It really would do a lot of help for the channel in terms of equipment and softwares for editing and all of that. So yeah, that's really it. Welcome back again to 2024. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas, and I hope the year's actually started so well for you so far. Don't forget, if you've got any questions, also leave them in the comment below. This year I am trying to get back to comments as quick as possible, hopefully within 24 hours in that. But I would be creating a new email and a different numbers now, where we'll be directing messages and phone text or story calls. So if you want to get through to me, then that would be easier as well. And probably I'm still wondering how that's going to be done. Maybe it's going to be done with Patreon system or style. But yet more information will come up about that later on in the year or in the month. So that's it, guys. All the best with your driving lessons and best of luck with your tests. Have a wonderful week, have a wonderful month, and have a blessed year. See you in the next video. Peace.